Eric, have you seen, there's a 1980s SNL skit called the All Drug Olympics. It's one of those weekend update clips from SNL. And they're like, we're going to our correspondent at the All Drug Olympics in Bogota, which is debuting for the first time, in which the Olympians can take whatever they want. And so they cue to the correspondent. He's like, he's on anabolic steroids. He's on a cat tranquilizer. And I think he just took a few shots, a few cocktails beforehand. And they go to like the power lifter and he's about to clean and jerk like 1,500 pounds. And in the clip, the guy's arms, like he goes to lift it and his arms just get stuck to the thing and he rips his arms off.
His arms snap off of the shoulder.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it's hilarious. And there's blood everywhere. It's like, he doesn't feel it now, but that's going to hurt in the morning. But anyway, this exists now.
We have an all-drug Olympics.
Yeah, it's called the Enhanced Games.
The Enhanced Games.
So
where are the Enhanced Games?
I don't know where they are, but it's going to be May 2026. And it's kind of like a pay-per-view through the website right now.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so they can take, it seems like whatever they want. And their argument is that we're going to provide a safe environment in which these athletes can take all the performance enhancing, they give you bonuses for breaking records. So I think if you break a world record, you get $1 million.
Okay, so the image on the headline that you guys shared was a swimmer.
Oh God,
he is enormous.
Yeah, I mean it's literally looks like Bruce Banner versus the Incredible Hulk. Like this this guy's neck, jaws, looks like his bone structure, all of his muscles have probably like tripled in size.
Yeah.
He's like bulging out of his, threads.
God, I wish we could show this image because it's so good. But either way, you described it well. This enhanced athlete is freaking enormous. My first question is that guy going to be able to swim?
Yeah, he doesn't look like his arms could do even the motion.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess the question is like, we'll talk about enhanced games if it's a good business or it'll thrive or whatever in a second. But is this a good idea? Like, should we let athletes just let it rip if they want? Obviously, they're doing it on their own.
So, what are the downsides? So, like at first blush, like competitive athletics and spectator sports exist for entertainment to the spectator. That's the business of it. So, I mean, as a spectator, the game gets better, probably.
I mean, do you remember Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds just letting it fucking rip?
Yeah.
Don't forget Jose Canseco, baby.
Yeah.
Ken Caminiti.
Yeah, fondly remember those days.
Oh, those were great. Those were great.
So those were the enhanced games of baseball in the late 90s.
It was epic.
And how entertaining was that?
It was max entertainment.
Dude, like I remember back in this era, like the local news would be like following a normal story in like San Diego, and then it'd be like, and we're cutting to St. Louis where Mark McGuire is taking another at bat.
It looks like he's holding a toothpick. Oh no, it's just because he's so large that the bat looks like a
Dude, the bat looked so small. He looked like he was literally holding a wiffle ball bat.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like epic. Okay, so the downside then is not for the spectator, it's for the athlete themselves. And you're worried, like, I guess you'd be worried about the athlete's long-term health.
Massive tumor growth.
Like the entirety of the NFL.
Yeah, right. But that was my follow-up is that like the entirety of the NFL is dealing with like CTE, players killing themselves by 55. Like I think the average lifespan is like 55
That's from
years
the
old.
concussions, right? Because like you don't see that in rugby.
Sure, but I guess what I'm saying is that the league doesn't seem to care equally. So like, why not allow them to be enhanced?
Yeah, it's like, what is your principle? Because I think a lot of people would be like, oh, well, we don't want to allow this because people will hurt themselves. But then, like as you say, we already have entire sports where like the death rate is like probably way worse than just the average death rate of anybody who takes steroids.
Okay, what about imagine the maniacs that want to fight for a living. Okay, now put them on roid rage.
Oh God.
And what do you think about like a UFC version where it's like just let it rip as much as you want?
As a spectator?
As a spectator.
Better.
There will be fatalities.
No, you still have referees.
Yeah, you think the roid rage guy is going to let the referee get off of him?
He just kills the referee too.
He's like, fuck this guy.
I want to see all steroid figure skating. I want to see some girl do like 7 twirls.
7
just
axles.
Like septuple axles.
I think there's something to gain in humanity, right? Like you're going to have this cohort that's going to take these things, and some of them are going to have ill side effects, some shorter term, some longer term, but you might actually find through their experimentation something worthwhile.
Yeah, maybe there's a way to combat the negative side effects as well as like through the experimentation.
Where it's going to get really wild is if you let them do full on genetic modifying, right? Like I think we talked in very years past about how there will be a certain sect of the human population of Homo sapiens who decides to alter the DNA to have glow in the dark hair and certain color eyes. And at some point, you're probably going to have to call it like a break off of the current species because they're going to evolve in a different path. And it would be wild if this thing grows and they're like, okay, you can now swap out the G for an A in your
Dude,
genome.
imagine if like the center for the Los Angeles Lakers was a brontosaurus.
Yo, that'd be sick.
Wait, what's the Michael Jordan movie? The
Space Jam?
Space Jam. Maybe they're playing against the aliens who have like
Right.
superhuman powers.
Right.
Space Jam was actually just a prophecy.
Um,
No, did you see the thing that I think it was Ledger who posted it about the embryo selection thing?
oh, you can.
Where you can basically just select your baby on the basis of like how long it's going to live and all sorts of crazy stuff now.
So I think like we're people of a certain age, we're men of a certain age, and like a lot of our peer group are going through like fertility stuff, like IVF, and I've only just like scratched the surface of understanding what's going on here. But like I know you can already see the health of the embryos and which gender they're going to be. They give like a letter grade to the viability of each of these things.
Yeah.
So that's like commonplace.
But like what is the difference between you being like, I want to become super sick at tennis and just taking like every drug on the planet to get good at tennis, and then somebody being like, I've genetically selected my baby from 6,000 embryos to ensure that it has all the physical characteristics of Rafael Nadal. Like, what is the difference?
It's the same picture.
Is it the same thing?
sounds like natural selection to me.
Unnatural selection.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess unnatural. Unnatural.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
Yeah, I did too.
It's selection.
I thought you were teeing me up for a pun. I took the opportunity.
And like, I guess if that technology, if that's what you'd call it, exists, like you probably take it. Like if you had the means, like you'd probably like take advantage of using it.
Of course you would. Do you want the highest probability of having a healthy child versus not? Of course you're going to be like, yeah, give me the one that's going to survive.
That's how it starts, and it's just like healthy, but then it's just like,
Well, I think most the biggest use case will just be like, give me a healthy baby. Like,
Yeah.
not like I'm
no, that's not going to be the biggest
I'm
use case.
No, at
Serena
first.
Williams' father trying to
Like the early adopters are going to be like,
They'll be like, give me the healthy baby. And they'll be like, cool. Do you also want the baby who's 6'5" or 5'2"? And then people will be like,
looking up tennis contracts and sponsorship fees.
they'll be like, oh, you'll be like, is that like an upsell? It's like, no, it's like right there with everything else. You just want to pick
no,
it.
it's going to be an upsell, brother. That's an upsell. Like, come on. They're going to have
get it.
packages. They'll be like, here's the
No,
athlete
somebody
package.
will offer it like ungated.
Okay.
They'll take all the business, Yeah, I mean, this is like one of the crazy things about humanity right now is like we're sort of like blending the worlds of like people people trying to enhance themselves either physically or digitally, and then eventually just becoming those people, right? Like this is like it's the very big thing with like women right now, right? Like at first it was like you were like, oh, you can enhance yourself digitally on the internet with like filters and stuff, and then you're like, well, actually I could just change the way you look entirely with filters, and then people will just change the way they look in real life. They'll just change things about their body, and then you just change the way you are from birth.
Okay, but I think the genetic change is potentially less egregious. I don't know. I want to run this by you. It's like, what
Is it? Why?
Well, what's the downside? Like, I guess what I'm wondering is what's the downside of like choosing the healthiest specimens to procreate?
Well, I think beauty is like an interesting thing, because I think like a lot of people would be like, well, why would you just like let somebody be born with like a deadly condition where they're going to live till be 12, right? And we could be like, okay, but like picking your baby to be like hot is like different, right? And I think it has like other like implications. Like,
Well, it's still got one half of your. If you're buying embryos, it's got your sperm in there, right? You're saying that's still possible?
what?
That they can, if you got like an ugly dad sperm, and then it's just somehow you're going to.
No, they'll figure it out. They'll be like, this baby is going to be super hot, which is going to be a weird conversation to have as like a dad.
Is it a daughter or?
Yeah, you and your wife go in for like the baby, and they're like, all right, so how hot do you want your daughter to be?
That's too hot.
No, this is a conversation people are going to have. Like, okay, like
Can't even get it out.
like if I'm like a dad, like I don't want my daughter to be a 10.
No.
No, I think most dads do not want their daughter to be a 10.
Nightmare.
It creates a lot of problems, a lot of nightmares, not just for you, but also for them, I think. And I think men like internalize this a lot more because like as a man, like you grow up in like this kind of hard knocks is like it's a part of your upbringing as a man. And I think like you probably talked about this, but like me and my friends in college and stuff used to talk about like how like the girls who like randomly, the late bloomers, the girls who like randomly got hot when they were like 17 or 18, they were the best girls. Like because they're like cool as fuck because they weren't like hot their whole life. Like if you're hot when you're like 10, that's too young. That sounds weird.
I was gonna say,
if you're hot when you're like 12
Strike
and
that
like
from the record.
everybody's just been trying to like bang you for your entire life, like the rest of your personality can like atrophy sometimes. You've never had to go through hardship, you get like entitlement, right? But like if you were just like ugly when you're like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you probably had to develop a personality. You probably went through some hardship.
Probably got bullied.
You're a hardier, you probably got bullied. You're probably like a hardier person. You're like a more interesting person for it all. So if you're just born super hot,
Then you just select the late bloomer phase.
oh yeah, we could just select
Yeah, you
for
just
oh,
the feature flag.
That would be interesting actually. I would allow my daughter to be like a 10, like if they could guarantee that she wouldn't hit 10 until like 22.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the people who are against sort of like look augmentation past embryo phase because it's actually affecting natural
You
selection,
mean plastic surgery?
plastic surgery? Like, how about even like braces or headgear or something?
GLP-1s?
Yeah, GLP-1s. Like, obviously breast augmentation.
Braces is funny because like I think a lot of people are like obviously against like breast augmentation, but like those, I bet most of those people are not you, Nick, obviously, but like I think most of the
I'm against actually. I'm against. I'm against.
I just want to
I
throw
just-
you,
I just
want to
fucking-
throw you under the bus.
I had a head tilt when you said it.
but
Anyway, go ahead.
I like that you threw him under.
yes, all my no, I'm not even gonna go there. But I feel like a lot of people who say that if you pose the braces thing to them, they're like, yeah, I got braces, I'm cool with braces, but like it's like, yeah, what is the difference there? Why is that
Right.
kosher?
Right.
No one likes an underbite, dude. You just want the. Thank God for headgear.
Did you have headgear?
Yeah, I've had all the gear.
Okay,
I've had
so
all the
you're a
gear.
late bloomer. This explains a lot.
Yeah.
Hardy. Hardy.
The late bloomer.
Yeah, if your daughter's like too hot and she's 12, you just gotta like just throw headgear on her just to
He's just like,
Fake
why do I need this?
Wow. That's incredible.